Hey everyone, I hope all of you are having a wonderful day, and today get ready to meet the Phantom, because we're back at the Dark Ride building most of the Catacombs. Catacombs, I don't know. Anyways, before the chaos begins, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more. Now let the chaos begin. Alright, I have to preface this video by saying two things. A, I got early access to the sorcery pack, which means that I got to build early, make this video and get it released on, I think, release day. My brain is a bit foggy, which goes into the second thing that I have to say, which is the chaos is contained this video because it literally hurts to talk for me. It's sore throat, I don't know really what's going on, but yeah, chaos is a bit contained. But on the other hand, you get this video early doesn't mean that this weekend, because like my usual upload schedule is like expect a video Friday or Saturday. If you don't find a video then it's next week. You won't get another video this week because I'm probably resting from whatever is going on with my throat and also going back to work because I had 2 weeks off and yeah. Anyways, let's get started talking about the actual build. So, first of all, I wanted a transitional area between the catacombs and the hotel, or actually vice versa, between the hotel and the catacombs. And because the last scene in the hotel is the kitchen, and because it's a hotel, it makes sense that it has a wine cellar. And then the entire idea of like, oh yeah, there's this wall in the wine cellar that is crumbled or broken. You just, whatever explanation you want to give to it can kind of work. Maybe it just broke. Maybe something from the catacombs broke into the hotel. Maybe it just crumbled. Maybe something evil is in the catacombs. I mean, there is, but we're going to meet the Phantom. Because I'm so proud of what I've built that I'm just like, fuck it with spoilers. I just want to show you guys what I've made. And it's still like, I won't say anything about the story. You get to think of like what's going on for yourself. Although it's, some parts are fairly explicit. Or not what's the right word? Because I think explicit for something is like cursing, but I think it also fits here. I don't know. Whenever throat hurts, brain becomes foggy, which is probably just because I'm getting down with some kind of sickness, because fuck my life, I guess. Anyway, so back to the actual build. So I had a lot of fun just building this little scene with just huge barrels and new spider webs. The only thing that I don't like about spider webs is that we can't really make them really small to make them like realistic spider webs. They're always going to be kind of huge. So yay, I got my spider webs. B, can we make them more a small planet coaster? Or actually frontier, but like a planet coaster team, if you're watching, can we make them smaller? Because I also want just regular spiders. And there's actually like, there is a spider animatronic. It doesn't fit in this dark ride at all. But we do have it. It's also kind of adorable because it's, I think, modeled after like the jumping spiders, which are the cutest kind of spiders. But yeah, so when it comes to this entire video, if there's spoilers, if you see something that you aren't supposed to see, I'm just like, nah, I don't care. I'm really proud of what I've made. But then we're going into the catacombs. Now, I first had the intention to make like the bone walls, as you have them in the Parisian catacombs, where you have just like walls fully made of bones. Then realized most of the walls you're not going to see. And in the sections with like the scenes where you are looking a bit at a wall, like there's of course a wall behind the scene, I think that if I had like the full bone walls, it would kind of distract. It would be really busy. And like the scenes itself are already really busy. So scratch the bone walls, which also luckily means that I don't have to build a full skeleton. I do have skulls and I think a leg and what is it called? A spine. So I have bones that I've made. We don't get bones with the sorcery pack, but I have bones. I didn't put them anywhere because the scenes are already really busy. But yeah, I had a lot of fun just building catacombs and just catacombs. I don't really know what the correct pronunciation is. I also don't really care because it's kind of funny to just be an idiot sometimes. But yeah, I made all of the, like, how do you call these roofs? Or ceilings, it's actually. But yeah, there's a little bit of like a structured part of this scene because this is, I would say, kind of on par with the Grand Staircase, like the chase sewer scene. It's not really a sewer though, because the catacombs aren't sewers. I did make a section off screen to be flooded and actually had like a broken boat in it because there was just like an area that had nothing in it. But yeah, you also didn't think of this one, but you're going underneath this scene. Which means if you're tall, you're going to get decapitated. I mean, the ride vehicle itself can fit through it fine, even with like the dummies. But if you're taller, like this ride is not Dutch approved. If you're sticking out a little bit too much out of your seat, you're going to get smacked in the face. Because I didn't think of that when I was building this scene. Or, well, when I was building the scene, I did think about it because I realized, oh, the track comes very close to like the ceiling of, well, not the ceiling, the flooring of the scene, which then becomes the ceiling of the next scene. Yeah, I had to think about that a bit. Also, I did see some people on like Reddit and such wondering like, how can we make spooky stuff with this? Actually, surprisingly easy. Because the cobwebs and then like it isn't like spooky as in like you get ghosts and such. It's more you can make things creepy easily. Or at least with the animatronics that I made. Like later on I will be building some monks. Mostly just using base game items like the fabric pieces. But then with the lights effects that you can get with the sorcery pack, it looks like there's like it. I didn't want their faces to be on fire. They don't have faces because if I can get away with not having a face for animatronics, I will. But there's this sorcery effect that's just basically sort of an orb. And it works really well to just like give it a kind of spooky vibe. I also later on used that orb to basically signify like a soul, like a floating soul that's been captured by the phantom. And it works well. So you can definitely make spooky stuff with the sorcery pack. It's just, I think it feels more on like creepy and not immediately terrifying. But I also kind of like that it's not just like, oh yeah, they gave us the Halloween or the spooky pack again. I like that it's a bit different. Now I do still want the bones, like the skeleton pieces. Like I could do without the pumpkins and such, but like the skeleton pieces would be nice. Even though I don't really need them for this ride, I found out. Yeah, I made an entire... Well, not entire, but like I made a leg, I think an arm, a spine, and a skull. And I think I used them in one scene. Like in the back room scene. I am going to add more to like some scenes here though. Not the monk sewer chase scene, which is what we're building now. That scene is already busy enough. Like you have the lady in white who shows up here chasing a, I think it's called a bassinet, because like the entire storyline of the lady in white is that like she's searching for a lost child. So I had fun just like building a tiny bassinet with like, also with like the spirit orb. I'm just going to call it spirit orb now, or soul orb. And it's just like she's constantly chasing it. And then on the other side, there's the monks that are just like in prayer, just like walking, because there's a lot of nods to, not really, like this scene doesn't have nods to Danse Macabre. This scene has nods to Spook Slot, which is the previous iteration of Danse Macabre, or at least was the attraction that stood on the place that Danse Macabre in the Efteling stands now. But I always just like having like the monks like just walking. They don't interact with you whatsoever. They don't look at you, nothing. For a lot of this ride, actually, you are just watching. You're just there. None of the ghosts or any of the spook factors are interested in you at all. It's only towards the later end that you draw their attention, which you don't want to happen. But yeah, now we're building the monk, which I had fun. Mostly because I didn't have to build a face or hands or anything. It was just layering cloth in such a way that it kind of looks like the robes of a monk. And just go wild. Now I did make them blue. Like if you take them out of the ride, they are just full on blue. But in the actual ride itself, again with the lighting and such, it doesn't really look as blue. It looks a little bit more ghostly. Again, no neon colored ghosts though. Like that's just ugly. And I still like, I will rant about this forever whenever I build like a haunted mansion or haunted house. Why did Disney change all of their ghost animatronics to be this neon green? I ranted about this in the last video, when it came to this dark ride. I will rant about it today, because it's just weird. But yeah, this ghost is blue, but it's like a faint blue, it's not neon blue. The funniest thing about the ghost though, or the monks, was one of them is kind of clipping into one of the pillars. But it's at like the very earliest part of the scene where you don't really see it, so I just left it. Also, when you're going down, they kind of look huge, so you kind of feel really small, which wasn't the intended effect, but it kind of works well to, again, make it feel like you're not important here. You're just a viewer to everything that's happening around you. And now we are at the big scene, which is straight up inspired by Danse Macabre, but also I wanted to build a city of the dead. So I built like a round thing in the middle where there's going to be dancers and then mausoleums and such, and just a shit ton of coffins surrounding it. Just because I wanted it to feel like, are you in the catacombs or are you just in like hell? Well, not really hell, but just like, are you really still in the catacombs? That's the entire idea. But yeah, this is basically, like, it's the biggest scene, but story-wise, it's like the lowest, like the, what is it called? Like the darkest part of the story. This is where like all hope is kind of lost. This is where you're fully in like the grips of the Phantom. Which I actually like, you might think, hey, I'm skipping a scene here. I know. I did that intentionally because there are some parts of the story that I don't want to spoil. But when it came to like the scene before this, like there is a scene between the dons here or the dance scene, and then the monk/sewer chase scene. There's a scene in between, but it's very spoiler heavy, so I didn't record that. Also in like the cinematics, when like I do the ride through the parts of the ride that we have built, I will cut out that scene just to have still some things that are unknown to you guys when it comes to the story. There's still like, if you don't want to have any spoilers at all, probably skip the cinematics, because the Phantom just gets fully revealed. But I just had so much fun with building this scene, and also just am so proud of how the scene came together that I am going to show it to you guys, because if I'm proud of something, I will shove it in your face. Now, while we're building all of the mausoleums, I do want to mention that I said in the previous video that I'm like trying to curb stomp a coaster idea, because I wanted to use one of the new coasters. I think it's like it's the kiddie coaster. And I wanted to build a coaster in the Turian area. And now you're seeing this. Does this mean that I curb stomped the coaster? No, the coaster curb stomped me. I built 5 different coasters, all in like the Turian area. Actually, all in the same place in the Turian area. And I just couldn't figure out how to team it. First, I wanted to have like nice stats for the coaster. For some reason, I had like nice stats, like 5 on like excitement, I think 2.5 on fear, and the lower number for nausea. Like, for a kiddie coaster, really good stats. The coaster was janky as hell. Like, neck-breakingly janky. Don't know how I got those stats, but it looked like you would break your neck. So I made a new coaster. It was nice and such, but I just couldn't figure out, like, what am I going to build? Like, is this going to be a castle? Is this going to be, like, a huge house or something? Is it going to be a ruined castle? No idea. So I built all of it and didn't like any of it, so deleted that all. And you might think, oh, so you built 2 coasters. No, there were also, like, 4 before the jank coaster that I just couldn't figure out how to do the layout of the coaster. So the coaster idea didn't get curb stomped, it curb stomped me. And then I was just like, screw it, I'm just going back to the dark ride. I have a clear idea of what I want to build there, so we're building it now. Also, I really like all of the building pieces. The Griffin statue, I kind of wanted to use it as like a demonic statue, but it just has like its paws up like a cat, which makes it slightly cute, so it didn't work. There's still a Griffin statue at the entrance into the Catacombs in the wine cellar. It's kind of falling off, but I really like that we got some more human statues, especially the monk statues, again without a face. They are just amazing, mostly because they really work well with the creepy factor. Again, the sorcery pack, if I had to describe it, it's not like scary or terrifying, but you can very easily make the pieces that you have with it creepy. So again, the sorcery pack, it's not a horror pack, it's not a spooky pack, it's not scary, but it's creepy. And I really like that, because that's like the main thing when it comes to this dark ride, is that I want it to be creepy. I don't want it to, like, there's so far 1 jump scare in this entire ride, maybe 2, but like the second one is, you can debate if it's a jump scare, but it's mostly just like, the entire idea that I want is to kind of put you on edge when you're on this ride. And also to have a lot of pretty stuff so that you want to ride it again to see everything. I also, because as is, I think, pretty straightforward when it comes to, the dance scene. And I already said that there's going to be dancers in the middle. The entire idea here that I wanted to achieve with the dance scene is to, first of all, make it feel like you've lost complete control of the plot. Like you're not in control at all anymore. And to also just make it very chaotic. So you have the middle circle, which is going to rotate with the dancers on it, which are on separate platforms that also rotate. So you have two things already rotating. But then on that central circle, there's also the pillars. Yeah, those are also going to rotate. As soon as you come into the scene, everything just starts rotating. So it was literally just like, I want to make it feel like you're not in control here anymore. The Phantom is fully in control and everything just starts spinning around you. You're basically just like a puppet on a string for the Phantom at that point. Now, as I said, there's going to be dancers. And I basically just took the bride, or not the bride. I constantly want to call her the bride. It's just the lady in white. But I took her and just changed her clothes. Gave her a face. Because the lady in white doesn't have a face. She is headless. And then just made 3 versions of just a lady and just put different hats on them. That's like the fun thing where it came to like this style of clothing and this just time period. You can put a lot of shit in their hair, which makes them all like different from each other, but it's just fun to like put like a bow in their hair, a little tiny straw hat. I wanted to also put a lyre in their hair because it kind of fits. But in the end, I just changed it for a tiny hat and then gave the next lady just a fan. And a bit of a crown, because it's fancy. Now, the dance scene is kind of, I think the style of dancing is like a waltz. In that time period, I don't think the waltz was really a big thing yet. I think it's 1800s when the waltz became a big thing, but like I can't really do the kinds of dances that they would do at the time period that these ladies are from, because I wanted to have everything spinning. So yeah. I also took the hotel manager or hotel owner and just again changed his clothes to be kind of period accurate. And I kind of like that with this scene, with the dance scene, I could just have like ghosts from multiple different time periods, because the Phantom has been busy for a while capturing souls. And the fun thing when it comes to the Phantom, just when I was building the Phantom, or when I was building it's, and you will see this in the cinematics, again, spoilers if you don't want to know this, but I based it off of Margot's wet nurse from Bloodborne. And when I was building like the entire dance scene, with especially when I was just like stacking like towers of coffins, I just felt like this looks like a boss arena from Bloodborne. I kind of like it. So yeah, there's just like stacks of coffins. It's supposed to be a city of the dead. And also just kind of emphasizes that like the Phantom is really powerful. And you are basically an ant to him. Or it. Because the Phantom, it doesn't have a face. I mean, Margot's wet nurse, I think, is supposed to be female, but like the Phantom is just it. I mean, it does take the... No. That's spoiler alert. Nope, we're not going there. Anyway, so yeah, setting up all of the dance pairs. I first thought like, oh, I should set them in the middle. Yeah, then they're just going to spin around. I want them to actually make it kind of give the vibe that they're moving around the dance floor. So I had to put them on like the edges of like their platforms. Now you might say, why are they on platforms? Because the animatronics themselves don't move. It's literally just they are on a platform that moves. I think it's like the same as how they do it in the Haunted Mansion or Phantom Manor, which is again the superior version of the Haunted Mansion. Although they're not, I mean, in the Haunted Mansion there are like Pepper's ghost effects, so they might not be on like an actual platform. They might just be on like, I don't know how you call it, but not an actual platform like this. But here, because it's like in the center, it needs to look good. They are just on a platform, and it's slightly realistic. Like, this could be a thing. Like, the pillars would obviously be hollow, but it really works well. And then, just because it's a dance, I went for the creepiest instrument there is, which is a church organ. I thought like, oh, this is going to be difficult to build. No, it's not. Especially because we already have pieces that you can easily turn into an organ. Like the coaster support beams and such. There's already one that like sort of tapers in at a point, and just put one of those up and then the other one upside down on top of it. Put like a black beam rod in it so that that's a little bit smaller and you have like an organ. I really want to just really just put a lot of emphasis on it. If you're watching me build something and it's like really tiny or something, it's the coaster support pieces. You can make those really tiny and just they're really versatile as well. So whenever you're seeing me like build a giant window or build something like this or anything, a lot of the times I'm using coaster support pieces. Other times it's like basic shape pieces or plaster pieces. Like for windows and just like decoration for facades, it's a lot of like the plaster, I think it's a resort block. So there's like a couple of piece sets, or I don't know what you call it, that I use pretty much all of the time. So coaster support pieces, basic shape pieces, and then the plaster pieces. Also like the wooden planks I use a lot for windows, furniture, anything. But especially like the coaster support pieces, like they're really slept on with how versatile you can make them, because I built a fucking organ out of them. I also, this is kind of embarrassing. The organ is a little bit too large. It's sticking out of the roof, or at least it was, then I raised the roof. But in a way, happy little accident, I just made it tilt slightly inwards into the middle of the scene, which makes it feel just like it makes you feel tiny as a guest. So it kind of works really well just to make it slightly tilt inwards. It's probably not an actual working organ. It's probably hollow, which means there's not a real amount of weight behind it, so they can just tilt it inwards a bit when building. But having it tilt inwards towards you in like the right vehicle just makes it feel like it's just swallowing you. And that's really, like, again, I keep saying this, but the entire idea of this scene is to make it feel like you have lost control. You are completely in control of the Phantom, and just you do what he says. and you hope to find an escape. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Also, I didn't think of it first, and then when I placed it, I was just like, yes. But I put like the ball decoration from the, what is it, the ancient or Greek theme, and I just put fire in its eyes. It works really well. And when it comes to the lighting, it's definitely Danse Macabre. I pull inspiration from a lot of things. But mostly it's the Efteling and Disney. But yeah, when it came to just the lighting, for a long time the only lighting in the scene was green. And then I later on added blue and a little bit of purple, which non-surprisingly are also the colors that are used in Danse Macabre, because yeah. So this entire scene is just an amalgamation of that and Haunted Mansion, because you have the dancing couples in the middle. But yeah, I'm really happy with this scene. And then I got sidetracked, because I just built the outside of it. And here it was just like, alright, this is a huge building. It's not going to be visible from any area. Yeah, the train goes next to it. But like, there's no paths here. There's the road, but there's going to be trees there. Would they theme this building? No, they would not. They would just put like this metal sheet wall, color it is like, I think Disney calls it go away green, and then just like, that's it. I am wondering though, because like if you work at a theme park, I am sure you have like nicknames for rides or pieces of rides. Like, I would call this like the oil drum or something. I wonder like how many, like if you're working at like a theme park, how many nicknames do you have for like sections of rides or like buildings of a ride or just rides itself in general? Like, I just am really curious to know that. Like, what are like the nicknames that the staff use for rides and such? Now I also, and this is my favorite thing to do when it comes to having a huge ass roof. Yes, I made it into a green roof because it has to look interesting from above as well. So, and it kind of just makes it not look like an oil drum as much. Added some structural supports, but I think that's mostly it. So again, if you don't want any spoilers, don't watch the cinematics, because you will just full on see the Phantom. You will full on... Well, I am going to change something slightly about some scenes. I want to add more ghosts and such, but you know, the inspiration tank runs kind of low, so I need to refill that tank, and in the meantime I will work on different stuff. But yeah, so the dance scene that you will see now is probably going to be slightly different compared to how it's going to be when the entire dark ride is finished. But again, if you don't want any spoilers, don't watch the cinematics. I am just so proud of how the dance scene came together that I am going to show it in the cinematics. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe button if you want to see more. And with that being said, also quick mention again, there's not going to be a video until next week. So you get this video on Tuesday. Don't expect a video this weekend. The next weekend will probably be a tour of Mythos, but I'm not certain. But anyways, have a wonderful day, guys. Bye bye.